Highly ho, everyone, and welcome aboard. It is that time of day where we have a look at the US, that'll be the UK. Let's get the right side of the world open. And we're about 5 minutes away from that. And of course, as usual in the show, which is called Learn to Trade Live and Free UK session, we look to trade the pound versus the US dollar as a breakout trade. Now, those of you who are in for the first time, we're trading the breakout of the previous three bars prior to London Open on an hourly chart. So this one here, this one here, and this one here. It will actually be a 1 bar breakout trade because that's the biggest bar on the screen in the last 3 candles. We already have our parameters for that. That's the high of that candle. That's the low of that candle. And by the magic of EAs, thank you once again, Kumar, we have an entry price for our buy. We have an entry price for our sell. We trade this as a breakout, OCO, one cancels other. And we have the stop loss for both, which is, of course, the reverse of the other. So let's place those orders before... Well, we can't place those orders. The candle hasn't closed. We'll wait till the candle closes and then we will place those orders. I think we'd probably be pretty safe if we did so now, but we will wait until the time comes. Yesterday's trade was the high of that bar, plus 15 pips, and the low of that bar minus 10 pips. So we got triggered into the long, but we couldn't trail anything until we got 2 bars on the hourly chart, that is. So it was these 2 bars here, that one and that one, which was pretty much bang on our entry. So it was a break-even trade at the end of the day. And there was nothing better than that, I suppose. We didn't get too much higher. We could have got this up here, but there was no trail on the hourly chart. As I said last night in the US session, we are planning on, or we were planning on rather, analysing the previous 3 months data, which was trailing on a 15-minute bar. Cannot see. Thank you guys. Sorry. My apologies. Share screen. And screen would be number 1. There we go. Sorry about that, guys. Hopefully that has fixed the issue. And g'day to everyone. How to access recent graduate of the A2W over the weekend. Hi, Hen. Lovely to have you on board. How to access what? Great, thanks. Okay, you've got it now. Cannot see. There's nothing worse than not being able to see a chart when somebody's sprawking on about it, is there? And that was the case. Shukri, how you doing? Hi, Swee. It's only me today, guys. You'll have to bear me for the full hour or so today, but that's fine. You can ask me lots and lots of questions. And I have shared my charts. Shukri, Hen, Swee. Okay, not a lot in at this stage, but that's fine. We will build as we go. So yesterday's trade was a break-even trade, as I says, as we trailed those 2 bars there, and we're looking for some profit today. We are getting closer to the mark. I will start to place this order. So I guess in particular for Hen, what we're doing here is, as I said before, trading a breakout of the previous, or the bars, 3 previous bars to London Open, which is in a minute's time. So we've got the parameters that we need. It is a buy stop. We will, and this is a beta test, by the way. So if you're trading this, it needs to be at micro lots, absolutely micro lots, because it is totally unproven. The price for the buy, entry price for the buy is 1.2576. And the stop loss for the buy is 1.2527. So we won't click that until it actually closes, but that will be the parameter around which it has closed. Okay, we've got an open for the session, and we'll place that long So there's the stop loss for the long. You can see the entry for the longs up here, again in a terrible place, just underneath the weekly pivot and the daily pivot. Shocker. And let's place the alternate sell order, which of course will be the reverse of the buy order. So it's a sell stop. And the levels are these. Sell stop price is 1.2527. And the stop loss for that is the entry for the buy, which was 1.2576. Okie dokie. There we go. Orders placed. So until we get an entry, as I said, terrible place to enter here, but we're not adding any filters to this at all. It is simply trading exactly what we say it is. It's the breakout of the last 3 bars of London session. And when we do get triggered either long or short, we cancel the opposite order and then trail on a 1 hour chart this time around. 1 hour chart is allowing us 2 bars short if we are, or sorry, 2 seller bars if we're going short, and 2 buyer bars if we're going long. And what I mean by that, yesterday we got triggered in by this bar here. We don't count that. We wait for 2 clear bars after entry. So we got 1, then we got a seller bar, we got a buyer bar, then we got another buyer bar, so we can move our stops underneath that candle. Then we got another buyer bar, which means we've got 2 buyer bars in a row up here. So we moved our stops underneath that candle, and that was as good as it got because price came back and took out our trailing stop at pretty much 0. All right, I think everybody should be well aware of what we're doing here with that one. If not, just post in the chat box and we will fix for you. Rightio, if I was looking to trade the pound today, what would I be doing? Let's go and have a look, shall we? Possible short on Kiwi Yen H4. All right, let's go have a look, shall we? Kiwi Yen. Have I got a Kiwi Yen chart anywhere? Not there, not there. Kiwi Yen, there we go. H4. Okay, I obviously haven't done any analysis on this one for a while. All right, what have we got? Let's go a little bit wider and see what surrounds us. So we're definitely in a downtrend. Short term, we've got a bit of a rally and a retrace and failing with 1, 2, 3, 4 bars to get back to the high. So I totally get the bias. The bias is probably necessarily short, and we need to get probably off that level. Are we off that level? That's the weekly chart I'm looking at, by the way. So I'm happy with the direction. Direction should be short. What have we got? We've got a resistance area above here in terms of horizontal level. Pretty much bang on price there as well. So there's a bit of range in here. We've come below the weekly pivot. We've retested the weekly pivot. On the daily chart, we're still looking short. And okay, what do we see? A bit of a mess, I've got to be honest. I don't see anything for me here, Sino. I can see where you're coming from because you've got multiple rejections of the weekly pivot. We're now underneath the daily and we've retested it. But gee, it's a mess for mine. Let me see if I can encage it. We've got to use that. Probably got to use that. I don't see a trade, mate. Hi, Lewis. Hi, Helen. Euro Yen 1 hour. Okay, hold on, I'll have a look at that in a tick. Mate, I really don't see a trade here for me. What I do see is a bit of a mess on the 4-hour chart, to be honest. There's an upset cycle, if you like. Lower low, equal high, lower low, lower high, mess, 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 mess. I don't see anything there for me at the moment. I agree with your bias, got that, but I don't see a trade for me at the moment. Maybe, I don't know, false break gets me interested up here, consolidate underneath both the pivots and both the trend lines, retest that confluence area, then I'd be happy to go short. But I don't see a trade there yet, mate. Euro yen on the H1. Euro yen on hourly chart. Similar scenario, isn't it? Bit of a head and shoulders there. I can see that. I can see a break of that neckline and a retest of that neckline. I like that. That looks pretty good. The neckline, by the way, is here. So I do like that part of it. What I don't really like at the moment is it hasn't really gone on with that. You'd think once it bounced off the daily pivot, it would keep going. And hasn't really done that. And that makes me suspicious because when it's not doing one thing, generally it's looking to do another or the other. Nice dominator candle there, which suggests it is going short, and that's been held up by this level, isn't it? Yeah, resistance, resistance, support, support again. Couldn't trade that at the moment, but what I do see is the potential for this to be falsely broken. So if price got back above here, took out the neckline, so got back above the neckline in effect, and retested the confluence area, I think I'd be inclined to look long. Yeah, that channel's a bit iffy as well, I've got to say, as to where it's real. Do we trust the top? Do we trust the bottom? And the bottom's got a bit of a false break there as well. I don't know if everything's saying up, but most of it is. I agree with you. But you know, I'm super suspicious of the euro at the moment. This level here is interesting as well. Again, it's been support, it's been resistance, 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 and support again. It's dodgy, isn't it? Totally dodgy. That level may be the key, actually. 122. Hourly chart. Let me have another look at that. I probably would have been inclined to trade that bar. Only 11 pips. You could have snuck in a TP1 there, but you're probably out again by now. So it's a toughie, Helen. Again, I don't see a trade right now, but maybe a little bit later there will be something there for the long if we can get back above that level. So that would be my analysis on that at the moment. Is coming off a strong support level. You think the yen has had some intervention? Okay, may well have been. What's dollar yen doing if that's the case? Where have I got dollar yen? There. Whew. Can I go any wider? It's still stuck within this little pyramid as well, or pennant, or equilateral triangle, whatever you want to call it. Up and down in the one spot. Mystery bag. What I do see here, however, is two things. One is, and I said this yesterday on dollar yen, we had formed a little bit of a base here, and I totally see that. But I also see some long tail candles sitting on that support trade line. I'm inclined to think there may be an OCO available here, but do you trust it to break out? That's the problem. So I can see maybe an entry there and maybe an entry there. I just can't trust it. It's a terrible thing. Can you see where I'm coming from? You know, we've had an approach of the trend line. we actually went through it and pulled back away from it. You get your entry below that low, and I'm pretty sure that's going to be an equal low. Not even at the low. You see how strong it is through here. That support's been there for a long time. Very, very tough to go short at this level. And I totally see the shots over the bow here. Pull back off the trend line, pull back, pull back, pull back, big pullback. Very tempted to place an order there. And I was tempted to do that this morning, but yeah, again, do you trust it to break out? So my answer is no, not yet, but I see the potential for it. Anyone took long on CAD last night? I don't see anybody putting their hands up. Euro yen, we got that one. That's part of the problem. Right. Well, I guess we did in a sense because we traded Euro CAD short and we're pretty much bang on entry here now. I think this candle will be very, very interesting, which is, of course, takes in the first couple of hours of London session. If this can get to be a bearish candle, I think that's probably going to be the flavor for the day. But equally, if it takes out this little consolidation period here, it's likely to go to the daily pivot. And I said that this morning when I put this in the market. Was it? No, it was yesterday. I said this morning to the guys in my strategy group that will probably need to go through some pain here to get any gain. And that pain could well be a test of the daily pivot and then back into the range. I really don't want to see that, to be honest, because that takes us back out of the range. And I'd rather see price stay under here. And it is the case. And I often say this, if you have a look at what's happened here from almost, I can't count the days, but you can if you want to. I'm looking at the 4-hour chart. How many days has the daily pivot not been tested? You've got to go back. There's one there. But it's just about every single day the daily pivot has been tested. Now that happens when you are in a range. That's very common for that to be the case. But when you're reversing, oftentimes you will find that the daily pivot is totally ignored. And that's kind of where I'm at today. If we do see this candle close as a bearish bar, I'm pretty confident we will get down to at least the trend line and maybe even the monthly pivot. However, if we get back out of this range, then I'd be far less confident than I currently am that EuroCAD can do the job for us. And of course, we traded this as a false breakout. If you recall, a one candle false breakout, that candle there. And that looks okay at the moment. We were coming off a pretty strong level. If you go back in time, you can see how strong that level has been, both as support and resistance. And that's why I was pretty keen to trade that as a false break, because I thought it would take a lot of energy for the market to get it through that level. Pray for a bear. Don't praise for you. It's kind of sacrilegious if you're on one hand doing the devil's work by speculating. I don't think you can ask him for help. That's kind of my, and we've all done it. I absolutely certain we've all done it at times, going, oh, please, just go south or just go north, just help me out here, and I'll never do it again. All those sorts of things go through your head, don't they? So yeah, I'm okay with that position at the moment, but I do think if we get back out of this range, we may have a little bit of an issue. I'll reassess that if that is the case on the 4-hour charts. Need to be more religious now. I don't think we should get into a religious conversation, Shukri, to be honest. It's hard enough being in a trading conversation, much less adding fuel to the fire. And I totally respect everyone's point of view in terms of religion. But I don't think it's a topic for here, I must say. Although I brought it up, didn't I? I brought it up. Right, what am I looking at today? Well, really what I was looking at, and I don't trade the first hour of London, the first candle of London session on the 30-minute chart. What about Aussie Kiwi? Aussie Kiwi. Aussie Kiwi is just stagnant at the moment, isn't it? And we are a bit more than halfway between our entry and our stop loss with nothing in the bank. Well, like I said to my guys this morning, this really hasn't done anything other than what you would probably expect. A little bit more, I suppose, determined in this move here were the buyers. But, you know, really, if you have a look at what we've got here, and of course, the danger is that this is a retracement and not a reversal. And we're always in that predicament, of course. But we had the three little Indians, as I call them. They're my version of the three little Indians anyway, poking out of the top of this range here. And when I see that, I immediately think downside. But I only think downside to a support level. Now we've broken the range, which you would expect. There's the range there. So when I see three little Indians, I immediately think we're going to break the range to the short side. Pardon me, and the reverse. You know, if we get three little Indians in the opposite direction, we then think we're going to break to the high side. But here I'm always thinking we're going to break to the low side. And we haven't done that yet. Well, we did to a very small degree, but I'm thinking this area down here, where the previous range was, is where we need to get to. And that hasn't happened, of course. And when that hasn't happened, the potential for the opposite to happen is heightened. There's no question there. But all of that said, we are still getting a lower low, a lower high, a lower low, potentially a lower high. It looks like a lower high to me. If that were to be the case, then I've probably got to trust it for another leg. And as I said from the outset anyway, you know, we're only trading this at small risk, which is 0.25%. So if the stops are taken, I'm not in a bad position. Well, I don't hate losing, of course, but I'm quite prepared to lose 0.25%. So I don't need to do anything here if that's still the case. If, however, I've gone in at full risk and I'm uncomfortable with the position that I'm in, then absolutely I've got to think, well, do I cut my losses here? Where am I wrong? And or in my mind, I'm definitely wrong if that goes. But then we're so close to the stop loss, does it matter at the end of the day? So it becomes a very personal thing. But the lesson to learn, if you are in an uncomfortable position, is don't calculate your risk when you're halfway into the trade. Calculate your risk that you're prepared to put on the line before you take the entry. So that is that's the lesson. If you are uncomfortable in a trade at any time, you need to have gone in at the risk you were prepared to lose. And that's the same with any form of investment, you know. My father, who has been dead for 40 years, was a bookmaker on horses. And I learned how to back horses. Most of them were slower than the rest of the horses in the race, which was very sad for me. But he taught me some very valuable lessons around speculating and gambling. Not just that I could back slow horses and lose my money, but he told me never, ever to bet with worried money. And that's always been the case since I learned that lesson many, many, many years ago. So that's why you'll find that I'm a very conservative trader in the risks that I take. They are very low risk normally. And when I'm in a situation such as this, where it's potentially reversing but not yet proven, as is the case and was the case when we went in here, then I go in low. When you get to the second phase, so actually when we do break that range that I spoke of, let me grab my pen again. Pen. So when we do actually break that area there, is the one I was talking about, the bottom of that range, remember? When we do break that and keep clear of it, then we can start to think, all right, we hit a support level here. We're going to retrace a bit. So we go back to that level. We can then scale in. So we've taken some risk off the table here. We've banked some money. Then we can go back and add some more risk. But no more than your risk in the first place. You just keep building. So 0.25% here, 0.25% here, sorry, 0.25% there, 0.25% there. And by the time you get down to the bottom, you've probably got 1% on the table, which is where you want to be. And you've gathered it. You haven't gone in at 1% risk, and you've taken profit on a quarter, taken another profit on a quarter, taken another profit on a quarter. Yes, you've got your full risk on the table, but it's not from the outset, if you understand what I'm saying. So that's the way I think. And I think a lot of people who are scale-in people, Chloe's one, she scales in. And I think, a few of the guys have picked that up as well. You don't necessarily need to put your whole risk on the table in the first instance. Yes, you can get in and out very quickly and scalp or whatever you want to do with full risk on the table. But I think, if you're prepared to trade potential reversals, that's the way to do it. If you're trend trading, it might be a little bit different, but this is not trend trading, right? This is trading a reversal of the previous trend, if you like. And at the end of the day, right now, we're stuck in this range. And it may well go to the top and take our stop loss, no question. But we have to gauge that risk before we enter the trade. That's as far as I'll go with it. Hi, Dennis. How you put the timer on your price indicator? This timer here. Okay. I don't think I can actually put that in here into a chat. But if you go to, this may be in I'm assuming you're an ATW client. If you're an ATW client, there should be, and there certainly is with my template, if you got hold of my template, maybe you haven't, I don't know. But there should be, if you go into Navigator, if you're on MT4 and you've got ATW templates loaded, there should be, now I've said that, how can it be on my chart if it's not there? There we are, P4L candle time. That's it there. So that file, if you haven't got that file, then I think you can probably Google it. It could be EJ candle time. So E for Edward, J for Janice candle time, or P4L candle time. If you haven't got that file, if you can't find it anywhere, then just email contact@actions2wealth and ask for the candle time EA or indicator. But I'm pretty sure you'll find it somewhere. It's not hard to find. Okie doke, hope that helps. Now, sounds like a great chap. He was a bit of a character, John, as a matter of fact. A bit of a character. A bit of a, not there, Dennis. Okay. I can't put it in here anywhere because I can't copy a file and paste it anywhere. So contacted Actions2Wealth, mate, and ask for the candle time indicator, or Google. What's my thought on dollar CAD? Price back on the bottom of the box and sideways whole morning, like 8th and 9th of July. Okay, I'll have a look at that in a second, Swee. Re-enter short. I'm ready out with good profits, but want to re-enter on Aussie Kiwi. Oh, you were long, Shukri, weren't you? You're the bloody reason we're losing on that. You want to re-enter. What about Aussie Kiwi? I want to so you want to re-enter long. Okay. If you want to re-enter long, then how many systems are there that you can re-enter long on? I don't know. Let me see if I've got one that can accommodate you. I could use that there. Oh, you want to re-enter short? Okay. Short's not on the table at the moment either, but it could be if I had something there. Let me go to the smaller time frames. Okay. I can see a very risky one for you, potential entry, but I don't really want to put you into a high risk trade. That bar there is interesting. If that was taken out, then I think we've got an issue. But what I do see here is, again, pull back from the trade line, pull back from the trade line, pull back from the trade line. That's an hourly chart. So there's potential for an entry underneath that bar. And the issue you have is you're trading into the low of the day without profit, which has also got form over here as resistance. So very tough, mate. Very, very tough to enter at the moment at that level. What could I suggest? Well, if price were to come up to here and fail to take it, or even take out the highs, and then come back underneath and retest that trend line on the 4-hour chart, or any chart, doesn't matter which chart, but that's a 4-hour trend line chart, there'll be an equivalent on an hour or a 30-minute chart. So if you let price get up to here, maybe even hit the monthly pivot, then got back underneath and retested that area, then I think there's a short available. But at the moment, it's a bit of speculation. The hourly chart may, no, it won't. Well, it may not. it may give you another high through here, and that'll be interesting, because you may be able to play a false break there, which is a better place really, because you've got the confluence of daily pivot. So break up here, fail to take that high out, which is really the breakout area of that previous box range, and come back underneath the confluence area of daily pivot and trend line, then retest it, then I think you've got an entry there. Okay, good man, Shukri, good man. Yep, got it, Alan. I picked it up. All right, happy days. What is an Irish trade, Jeff? Did I say Irish? Did I say that? Really, I don't remember saying that. What is an Irish trade? Or is it a question? Or is that what's keeping you awake at night, Helen? When did I say Irish trade? I don't know. Did I say that? I must have. Or it's what keeps you awake at night. All right, what have we got? We have got a few things to look at. We've got 28 minutes past the hour. We've got 2 minutes before I can actually trade. I may have said it. I may have said it, but I don't recall saying it, I've got to say. Righto, Dolly, and we've had a little chat about. I wanted to talk about the dollar index, as I generally do, right? Because that kind of makes a big difference to what I look to do during a day. And the reason that is the case is, well, it still is, isn't it? We've still got everything that surrounds the US dollar. It's all dependent on the US dollar at the end of the day. Well, not at the end of the day, beginning of the day. I don't know that that's going to be the case for much longer. The one thing I see here, and see it fairly clearly, is that we have potential for a double bottom to have formed here already. This is the daily chart I'm looking at. And I do see a little confluence area here at about 96.54-ish, which is this former support level. It's not that strong, I've got to say. It's a soft level, but it's there. And the trend line. that Sanjay pointed out to us a couple of weeks ago when we were in quest of 98.18 and we fell short by that amount. And the great pickup by Sanjay, actually, that was the place. We were looking to trade this short, but we were looking to trade it short from there and it didn't make it. And now I feel we'll get a second chance if we can get up to that level there. If we don't and it continues to fall, then we'll just wait for another one. But this here to me is definitely in play and in play today, which means that my bias for things like Aussie dollar, euro dollar, pound dollar, Kiwi dollar, dollar CAD, all those sorts of things. I had to look at dollar CAD, didn't I? All those sorts of things may be in a position to retrace. Notice I didn't say reverse, because once we hit that level, I think we'll be looking for shorts again. So it's only short term that I'm looking to play these plays if they actually set up for me. Now let's have a look if they are. Now dollar CAD was the one we wanted to look at. And yes, we are at the bottom of a range. Who asked me this? Swee, was it you? I think asked me this question. I can't remember what the question was. What's my thoughts? Sideways the whole morning. Yeah, like the 9th of July, which is in here. Same, yeah. The terrible shame about the 9th of July, Swee, is that when did it tell us it was going there? It didn't. And was that news? Can't remember if that was news or not. Was I? No, I was away. So I wasn't even in front of the chart. So I've got no idea what that was all about. Once again, you can see the three little Indians sitting there. Higher, high, higher, high. And bang, away she went. And again, down to the bottom of the box, as you say. I couldn't see an entry here at the moment on the 4-hour chart. Love the fact that we've got an untested daily pivot above us. What is the hourly chart telling me? As you say, it's exactly the same as 1 week ago. 1 week ago today, it went bang like that. Righto, let's see if we can do some investigating here. 1 week ago today, we had a news event, did we? Let me see, Forex Factory. I'll share screen. So let's go to that screen and share that one, which should be the Forex Factory. And we'll come back and have a look at that because there's big news today as well. Let's talk about last week, however, the 9th of July. Irish trade. Did I say that? Not much to speak of, is there? And what time of day did it take off? Late in, well, not that late, but late-ish in US session. So that is the 1700 candle. Where are we now? We're at 10. So 7 hours from now that took off. So that will be, in my terms, just after midnight. So that's bang on the open. No, it's half an hour before the open. Half an hour before the open. That's interesting. So what do I think about that, Swee? I think unless I can find an entry here, which at the moment I can't, then an hour before the open of US session, it might be very interesting to see what happens. And if you don't think that that's possible, that this happens at the same time, not necessarily every day, then think again, because they're generally, no, not generally, sometimes it is the case that we have a dude or a company or a set of individuals or a corporate structure or whatever the case, a hedge fund, whatever the case may be, that just likes to upset the apple cart by, okay, not waiting for the open in this case, but they want to dump Canadian dollars, or they want to buy US dollars, or whatever, whichever way they're going. As you can see, the day before it was quite the reverse. They could just sneak in on the market here. Well, the market's snoozing, right? Just ready to go. Just make up a good story. Yeah, why not? This is actually, most of my little stories come from experience, Helen. I honestly don't make them up. And this is one such thing. And I remember back in Bali in, when was that? November last year, October last year. We had 2 days in a row where gold got hit and hit hard. I won't go back on the chart. I don't trade gold anyway. But it happened at exactly the same time on both days. So we speculated that that was because, as I said, one of those individuals, one of the corporations, one of the institutional traders, just wanted to get in before everybody else. And I suspect that's probably what happened here. And of course, as soon as it starts, away they go. People join in because they're probably expecting that to be a move. I don't know what I've just done, but I've just lost everything. Okay, it's back again. So, Swee, I totally see what you're seeing, and I'm going to have a very good look at that half an hour or an hour before the US session. But if I see a setup and can get in the market in the meantime, then why not? But I don't at the moment, I've got to say, not on the smaller time frames either. What would I like to see? Well, let me give you an indication of what would entice me into the market here. And that would be, that's not what I meant to do. I meant to grab a pen. So share screen. Oh no, before I do that, goodness me, we lots of roundabouts in the show, aren't there? So let's go to today. That's what I want to look at. We've got some important news coming up, of course, and we've already had some. Interesting about the Aussie today, where we had an employment change which was extremely positive. Extremely positive. So that's the number of people, or new jobs. No, it's not new jobs. What is it? Number of employed people during the previous month. Right. The big question here for me is what caused that? And of course, it's COVID related, where I'm anticipating that most of those jobs were people re-entering the workforce after having been laid off the previous month because of COVID. Now, what that actually means, I don't know. I'm not an economist, and I don't pretend to be able to say, okay, that means that the Aussie dollar is going to rally as a result, because I don't know. I've got no idea what that means. What I do know is that if an unemployment rate continues to rise, and I put inverted commas around this, outside of COVID, then you will definitely see a currency falter or be sold off if the unemployment rate continues to rise, which it is, but so is every unemployment rate around the world. So again, how do you weigh all that up? It really is a difficult prospect for me to say, okay, we've got a rising unemployment rate. Of course, we've got a rising unemployment rate because of COVID, but is 7.4 on a world scale disastrous? Answer, you wouldn't think so. You would not think so. So what the conclusion I draw from that is nothing. Line ball, so I'm going to ignore it. But if I was to take note of one of those numbers, it would most definitely be the unemployment rate and not the employment change. So I'll leave you with that thought. Chinese news, good news on GDP quarter over year. I don't even know what that means, so I'll leave that one alone. The number of people claiming unemployment benefits out of the UK was remarkably good. minus 28.1K. So that's less people claiming. 28,100 less people claiming. So I'm assuming, again, they've got their jobs back. Maybe that's the case. So is that good for the pound? Potentially, yes. But here comes the big news today, and it is the monetary policy statement coming out of Europe at 12:45, followed by the ECB press conference at 1:30 p.m. And this, of course, is London time. So that is now, what's the time in London now? It is 8:40. So we've got 5 hours roughly, 4 hours and 5 minutes before the monetary policy statement. And we've got another 45 minutes after that before the ECB press conference. Then, of course, at the same time, we've got US sales, retail sales coming out. That could be a little bit of a ride right there for the euro versus the US dollar. What am I saying? Why am I saying it? Because this could be very, very interesting for the euro today versus the US dollar, and potentially against everything else, which is why I need to go back to EuroCAD in a moment and tell you how I'm going to manage that. So how do we trade the dollar CAD? Let's go back to there. Rightio, you should now have dollar CAD on screen. A couple of comments. Is it a case of many stop losses getting hit and robots doing trading? Well, let's have a look. That's from Shukri. If you are long here, let me go a bit wider. If you're short here, you're probably thinking of taking profit at this level. I can go with that, which of course means there's buy orders in the market, but it didn't do too much. And if you're short again off this bar, maybe, I don't see that your stops have been hit, but I totally get the premise. Or if you've got really tight stops, maybe they've been hit. But you know, if the market went down to here and was a fake out, then I'd say absolutely that's a stop liquidation gathering part of trading. That's the way it works. So yes, I can totally get with that. See what you're saying, Shukri. But in this case, I don't see, you know, raw evidence of that. I don't. Actually, let's analyze this a bit further. Once we hit the bottom, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 candles before it took off. This is remarkably the same, isn't it? What candle hit the bottom? The 8th of the 7th at 2100. What candle hit the bottom here? The 15th of the 7th at 2100. Unbelievable. Well, it's not unbelievable. It's the close of US session, of course. So that kind of petered out from there. But yeah, there's some similarities. What did I say? 19 bars. So that's the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And the 13th candle was, well, we know this time anyway, 10 o'clock. So the 13th candle, that's 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13 was 10 o'clock. Yeah. So everything is on track here. You've got me fascinated here, so I love this sort of stuff. And it really is the way you actually make money in this market, by noticing what's happened before. Okay, I'm trying to find a way in. At the moment, I don't see one, unless you take on maybe the 30-minute chart and look at a break and retest, which we've currently got. You're above the high of the day. We've got 6 hours to go. And we've got dollar news just after. No, we haven't, just before. It's a tough call. Maybe I can just sneak a little bit in here. Let's see how this candle closes in 14 minutes. And if it closes as a bearish decisive bar, we might sneak just a little trade in here and see if we can hang on until that time. All right, you've got me intrigued. Love it. The move should be at US Open. What time was I saying? 1 hour before. It's the hour before, I think. In the hour before, Lewis. Is that what I said? Let's go to the half-hour chart and go back in time. I'd like to get this right for you. Okay, so the move started there. Gee, that looks like a news bar, I've got to say. So it started at 1700. It is currently 10:30. So that will be 6 hours and 30 minutes from now, or from the start of that candle, which will be at midnight my time. Oh, okay, that's after the open. Okay, you're right. You're right, Lewis. Absolutely. All right. Well, in the US show, we should see the result of that. We might see it live and true in front of us. Okay, cool. Righto, let's move on, shall we? Let's do that US session. Need to wait for this reading US data release. Yes, sweet. Yep. Have a look at pound on M30. Okay, let's have a look at pound on M30. I'll go back to this chart, that chart. Pound M30. Okay, what do we got? All right, will we call that a test of the daily pivot? We probably should, eh? It's very close to it. Righto, on M30, what do I see? I see nothing except break, retest, now gone of that trade. Let's put some trade lines in and see if we can come up with something. That's a bit steep for me, I've got to say. So I don't think I'd like to use it. But there is a break of it. So it's, I guess, something to take note of. The other trade line would come up through here. So the potential there is to get back above it and retest it and go long, maybe. I don't know that this is now a valid trade line. That's the issue, I believe. And also, if I go a little bit wider onto the 4-hour chart, I'm looking for shorts. I'm looking for shorts because we've now come off the top of this range where we got a lower high late yesterday. And there's your trade right there, if you can find a candle to trade it. Not a candle for me to trade, I must say. But that's where you want to be looking for a short right there. May have happened on an hourly or something like that. No. Oh yeah, false break. There you go. There it was. You don't have to look far, do you? Unbelievable. Beautiful. So lower high, break, consolidate, back underneath, retest, enter there. Weekly pivot's already been broken a couple of times, so that's not an issue. And you'd be laughing your little head off right now. Okay, so what to do with pound? Look, that's interesting. This is the hourly chart. We've had a break. We've had a retest. We've had a tested daily pivot. Question mark, but I'd be willing to say it has been. And we're looking for shorts. So I'd be willing to trade that. So we've got to come back to the pound in 10 minutes. I think we're going to go back somewhere else in 10 minutes as well. Goodness me. ADP non-farm employment change coming up, so it may affect this possible dollar CAD trade. Yes, it may, Sino, absolutely true. I tend to think that unless there's a massive miss on that, then it probably will be interesting. Well, uninteresting, sorry. Yeah, possible ABC here, Lewis. I agree with that, definitely. And I will be looking at it. The only issue you've probably got is this level here, which is where our sell entry is, but I think there's room to take profit before that. You're at DS1, of course, that's also an issue. 25 pips. Yeah, you're nearly halfway there. So yeah, I'd be taking profit there, no problems. ABC to go short, correct. That's what I'd be looking for. I don't fall in love with the trading into DS1, but I'd be willing to do so, I think. It's not a big retracement, that's true. But we've only gone, what? 53 pips today. The ATR on the dollar at the moment is what? On the pound at the moment, rather. Go away, daily chart. Insert indicators, ATR. Let's use the last 20 days, why not? Let's bring the chart back. So the ATR is currently at 103. We're not even halfway there. So yeah, I'm okay with it. Not in love with it, but I'm okay with it. So what chart was that? 30-minute? Hour. It was already there on the 30-minute and it failed. Did it fail? So that could be a little trap there for the people who trade 30-minute chart. We'll treat it that way anyway. And we'll come back in a few minutes and have a look at it. What else was I looking at, for goodness? I was going to do a whole chat about relative strength. That'll have to wait for another day because we've just gone so far already today and I haven't even got to the 30-minute charts yet. Euro. Okay, so you know from, sorry, I'm on the wrong chart. I'm on the wrong server here. You know from, that's looking interesting, dollar CAD. You know from the dollar index that I am looking to short euro dollar, right? Can I short euro dollar? This is interesting. That's the 30-minute chart. And I'm sure some of you can see straight away, because you're missing Ash so much, that there's a left shoulder, a head, and a right shoulder sitting there. There's a neckline coming straight through there. I'm going to make that accurate, because that will be important. Okay, you can see the head and shoulders. Let's put a trade line in, which is a neckline. Hasn't quite made it, has it? But by jingo and by crikey, if in 6 minutes' time that has retested, that makes that very interesting. And can I find a way to trade that is the question. Hourly chart. No help. I could take yeah, I could. I could play that, couldn't I? Same thing. A, B, C. Let's have a look at that in a minute. Yes, it is absolutely John Ash's favourite chart pattern, without a shadow of a doubt. I'm just going to take a sip of water. Wait a sec. Okay, so euro dollar's on the radar, as is pound. We won't trade them both because it'll be the same trade. What about the Aussie? Hourly chart. Come on. Well, not dissimilar. And there is another Head and Shoulders sitting there. There is another neckline. In fact, it's exactly the same. And they're all going to be exactly the same. It's a matter of picking the best. What do you think is the best? Just looking at those two charts that we've had a look at, Euro and Aussie. Yes, Lewis, they will all look the same. That doesn't look as good because we're at the back end, if you like, of these highs that we've broken, come back, retested that level. It's a matter of getting that level exactly right, isn't it? And that's always a bit of a challenge when you've got spiky things like this. I'm going to compare these because it is important to get it right. I think I like this more, euro dollar, because there's no strong support until we get back to here. But with the Aussie, there is strong support pretty much where we're looking to enter the market. So I think on that basis, I prefer the euro over the Aussie. Yeah, you could do that. Absolutely. Lewis is suggesting that we split our risk over the 2, but now 3. I wonder how many more there are. Well, dollar CAD we know about, and that's probably going to be similar. There's the big O. Where Big O's in tonight in the US session. He's just letting me know he's okay. He hasn't been real well. So dollar CAD, it's going to be similar because we're trading US dollar long in all occasions here. But, pick your poison at the end of the day. That's going to be the same trade. There's not a clear head and shoulders here. But going back to what Sui said before, I think we could look maybe to get a little bit in the market here, just in case we do see that again come US session. Really interesting. So now we're down to an 1/8% in each, Lewis, I think. Well, not quite. Let's see. Kiwi, that should be the same. Come on. There you go. Kiwi is under support or resistance now. Yeah. Not as clear. We haven't really gone to the top here either. That's kind of a concern for me. This is iffy. But the fact that we're under the pivots is interesting. The fact that there's a double cross of the pivots is even more interesting. This is very confusing, this price action. For me, I'm thinking long here, not short. But it's not clear by any stretch. Dollar yen, let's not have a look at that. We've spoken about it earlier. Is anybody else got anything we want to have a look at? I want to concentrate on these that we've had a look at because I think there's trades coming up there, most definitely trades coming up there. The US session today will be very interesting. I agree with you, Lewis. It should be very interesting. All right, what are we going to do? Let's not go any further. Let's place these orders and see how we go. I said I like the euro more, so let me just confirm that it's tradable. This is the low of the day, but it is a new low. So we've surpassed the low of the day, so I'm okay with that. Otherwise, I wouldn't trade into it. So we've got about 15 pips of risk, but we would extend that out to above here. We've got to get above that shoulder. It just makes sense to do so. So our risk is going to be, let's say, 25 pips. Our nearest level of support is there. So we're going to have to take profit at, let's say, 8 pips. We'll get away with 8 pips, which is about a quarter of our risk. That's not, sorry, a third of our risk, which is exactly the limit that I would use. What was the pound? Pound was 30-minute chart or hourly chart? Hourly chart, I think. Yep. Let's go hourly. And yeah, that's DS1, isn't it? It's always a complication, isn't there? Do you find that? So if we've got our entry below DS1 and our stop loss, let's say there, you've got 35 pips of risk and your potential reward is greater, of course, because it is pound US dollar. I think I'm prepared to go with that. And finally, dollar CAD. Oh, it turned out rather SH1T, didn't it? It's not real flash. Look at those candles. What's the hourly telling me? Ah, you sod. Maybe it just doesn't want to be traded. So pound and euro and Aussie. Which ones? 30-minute chart for the Aussie. So nowhere near as good. Okay, I'm going to miss the Aussie and I'm going to split with euro and pound. So let's do that. So we'll go, as you suggest, Lewis, exactly 0.25% each. I think it's a good idea. So euro dollar. Actually, I haven't got the EA here, have I? Have I? Oh, I've got the old one, I think. Still do the job. Okay, so the high, we're going above the daily pivot anyway. I didn't need to do that, but we do have, okay, our high is 114.8 and we'll go 114.20 as our stop loss. 114.20 is our stop loss and our entry is that's not right. Oh my goodness. Entry is 113.95. 113.95 and 114.20. Right, 114.20, 113.95. Sell stop. 113.95 and 114.20 is our stop loss. I'll set the other one and then we'll start talking about take profits. So that's the euro. The other one is the pound. Now, we don't have a, forget the breakout trade, right? You shouldn't be trading that at any risk anyway, right? So this is not part of that. The entry level for the pound will be at 125.39, 125.39, and the stop loss will be at 125.65, 39 and 65. $39 and $65. $125.65. Righto, so we are set. And we didn't get exactly what we wanted to see on the pound because we didn't really get back to retest there's a neckline there as well, right? Didn't really see that, but we are looking for shorts. We do have a lower high and a white candle. So I'm okay with that. We've also got a genuine slingshot scenario here. 3 candles that I like. The one thing we don't have is a great trade line. We don't have a great trade line. It's a trade line, but it's not superb. We could use that one coming up through there, which is what we did. And that's a break and retest of that. So yeah, look, it's quite okay. It's cool. Righto, what else have we got, guys? H1 short using slingshot euro dollar. That's what we're doing. Yep. That's exactly what we're doing. Let me get rid of that now. So we've got those guys. Let's have a quick squiz and see what else is going on. We spoke about that. This may yet turn out to be a tradable commodity, dollar CAD, because keep following those pullbacks. Every time you get a pullback that's substantial, it's probably an opportunity to go long. But the issue you're going to have is trading into the high of the day now. So best case scenario, as always, will be to find a break of support. So down here somewhere, back above, retest, then go long there. That's what I'd be counselling. I don't think we need to go too much farther, guys, to be honest. We've got enough to consider at the moment. We don't need to do anything else, I don't believe. We've spoken about the trades we've already got in the markets. Aussie Kiwi on the weekly. EuroCAD. Did we speak about EuroCAD? We're going to go there, weren't we? EuroCAD is just out of the money here by the look of it. We're trading that on a daily chart. Yeah, it's kind of been there pretty much the day, hasn't it? Hasn't done too much. I've got no reason to think this can't do what I'm suggesting it will, and that is obviously go and take our first take profit, number one, but get down to here as well. We're in Kiwi dollar. I'm not in Kiwi dollar. I moved my stops on Kiwi dollar and got hit. And I can't remember where that was. I got hit here, I believe. So if you're still in Kiwi dollar, I hope you're safe, Lewis. But I think you'll probably get a little bit more out of it anyway, back down to the bottom here. But I'm not in it anymore. You must have missed the memo, mate. I had it up on the chart there. I moved my stops to 165.68, if I'm not wrong, which was about there somewhere. No, it doesn't look right. Might have been a bit higher than that. Maybe here somewhere. But I'm definitely out. I'm out of the trade. Sadly, maybe. But we made a little bit on it. Entry for, you're in the red at the moment. So you didn't take profit. I see. Chloe's in the Kiwi. I don't know. I really don't know. Chloe, yesterday. Kiwi. No, I don't remember, sorry. Where was I going? Entry for euro dollar. Right, okay. Entry for the euro is at $1.13. Let me get it right. 113.95, did I say? Why doesn't it tell me? Bugger damn. Does anyone remember what it was? It was at 113.95, guys. Looks to be a different level on euro US dollar. You could use 113.95, Sanjay, anyway. Stop loss is at, that doesn't tell me either. 114.20, that one I do remember. Yep, 113.95, 114.20. Thank you, sweet. I better put that up on the chart here or not. Euro, US dollar. This is on H1. Or M30, I suppose, won't make much difference, to be honest, but USD H1. is a sell. 1.1395. Oh, we haven't discussed take profits, have we? Better do that. Stop loss 1.1420 and TP1 I think DS1 might be the go, just above DS1, so the level will be about 113.82, I think. 1.1382. Or should we lose the low here? Maybe we should do that. I might change this, guys, so just bear with me for a sec. That's 13 pips versus, what was our risk again? 24, and we said 8, didn't we? Yeah, okay. So make that 87, 113.87. Now, because it is a short time frame, I'll give you guys my rules for trading it, right? And I know what my target is before I even look at it, but I'll just double check. Right, so the rules of trading on my short time frames is this. You must take profit at a support level, and the first support level that is significant, and that's that level for mine. The next one is DS1, the next one is this level here. But when we're trading on small time frames, I don't trade through support or resistance going in the opposite direction. And that gives me less heart attacks, gives me far less stress, and gives me far better win to loss ratio. It doesn't give me far better reward, of course. The reward comes in the second part of the trade. Now, if we are able to get back into here and you want to hold on till we get to the weekly pivot, I don't suggest you do, to be honest, because go back to the first thing I did today was look at the dollar index, right? There's only a short burst of flavor there for the US dollar, in my humble opinion. So I don't think these pairs will go too far before they go back to trend. And one of the obvious places for that to occur would be back at the top of the range here. The other would be the weekly pivot, or the next one down would be the weekly pivot. So I will probably take profit here. And if WR1 is pretty much bang on 113.60, then that's pretty much, yeah, it's just above it. So yeah, 113.65-ish, I think, is where I'd like to, maybe even 113.69 is where I would take my profit. So that's only going to be a 26 for a 24. It's only going to be a 1-to-1. So you're going to get less than that because you're taking profit. So if you don't like to do that, then at least make yourself safe and let it run down a little bit further so you get some reward out of it. It's not a big reward trade that I'm suggesting, but must take profit here at 113.87. I'll leave the other one open. You can decide that for yourselves. On the pound, this will be a little bit different. It does move a lot further, a lot quicker, the pound. So your entry there, risk is about the same, about 26 pips. TP1's got to be here-ish. So let's call it yesterday's daily pivot. No, it may not be enough for the pound. Keep your eye on that daily pivot, but make your first profit at 125.25. So let's get the entries for this again. For the pound, we should have GBP USD. This is on also H1. It's a sell. Cheers, Helen. You're very welcome. We'll catch you later. And entry level. Oh, why did I do that? All in little ones. That. Oh, I'm having a good time here. GBP, USD, H1, sell. And it won't tell me. Here we go again. 125.38 or 39. 125.39 maybe, and 125.65-ish. 125.39 and 65. Oh, look at that. Four, that doesn't work. 20. 1.2539. Stop loss. 1.2565. TP1 was that level there, which it won't tell me what it is, of course. So I'll have to go out of there and get that level again, which is the close of that bar, 125.25. $1.2525. There you go. We'll make that a bit bigger. Out to 28, and there are our two trades for this session. Righto, guys, that is pretty much it. If you haven't got those levels and want them, just let me know now. Otherwise, forever hold your peace. And we'll see how that goes. Now, dollar CAD, US session, really looking forward to that. The Big O will be in as well. And I'll probably have a very big rest of my voice because it's getting a word in edgeways with the Big O is unbelievable. Are you in the room, Big O? I don't know. But he's great entertainment value and, of course, heck of a trader. So we'll look forward to chatting with him in the US session. And, guys, that is it for the week, which has been quite an up and down one for me in terms of travel and all sorts of things. I'm starting to get a handle for the market again, which is great. And thank you all for being part of my week. If we see you next week, happy days. If we see you in the US session, happier days. And for that, or those of you who we won't see in the US session, have a wonderful weekend, and we look forward to catching up in the new week. Have a great one, guys. Bye-bye for now.